Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. We're still talking about the appraiser of the Buhari government. They made promises. Now, have they performed? Have they delivered on those promises? There's a reappraisal process that is ongoing, a midterm retreats that are undergoing right now, all the cabinet members, and looking inwards on what they have done and what they have not done. I'm being joined tonight by the President's spokesperson, Mr. Femi Adesina. Thank you so much, Mr. Adesina, for coming on tonight.
Thank you. Good evening.
So it's a sort of internal mechanism, from what I gathered from the speeches of the president, to look at what they have done and what they have not done. Because there was a closed door, because the media was excused at some point. I understand, I was hearing that some truths were being told in the closed door. What can you tell us about that?
Well, it is said in Yoruba land, I know it will also be peculiar to other parts of the country, that if adults go into a room and they then come out sometime later and they are all smiling and laughing, they have not told themselves the truth.
Were you smiling after that meeting? Were you guys smiling after the meeting?
Well, it was not all gloom. It was not all gloom. It was factual, it was truthful, but it was not gloomy. It was not gloomy.
Were the ministers that performed, were they told they performed? The ones that didn't perform, were they also told that they did not perform?
It was not about Judgment Day for the ministers.
It was supposed to be an appraiser, isn't it?
But not Judgment Day.
An appraiser is some kind of judgment,
Yeah, no, it's not Judgment Day. It's not Judgment Day. What happened was that the 9 priority areas were considered, and the ministries responsible for the different areas were then assessed based on what and how they have performed vis-a-vis those 9 priority areas. At the end of the day, because the retreat is going on, it's being concluded tomorrow, and there will be a formal report. I will not tell you what the assessment result is yet, so as not to preempt the report. But it was not a bad report.
But, I mean, what are the lows?
Yeah, there are, I wouldn't say lows. Maybe areas that do not measure up yet.
Those are the lows.
Yeah, no, they
don't want to call it the lows.
They are not necessarily lows.
They didn't meet the expectations of the government, isn't it?
Yes, but lows will mean failure.
No, but you have highs.
Yes,
I'm going to come to the highs, but I want to get the lows first.
No. It wasn't seen in that sense. It wasn't seen in that sense. Each priority area was considered, and the strengths and the weaknesses of the ministries in charge of those areas were considered.
So which one were, which of the weaknesses?
Like I told you, this retreat continues tomorrow.
Or should we go into, maybe I can ask you direct questions on those weaknesses, at least from the citizen and journalist point of view. We might be able to take you on that.
Oh, yes.
I mean, because the government made promises onto what they want to do for Nigerians.
Sure.
And now we're asking questions on these 9 priority areas. You set the parameters that you want to be judged by. And then let's look at it. First and foremost, there is an excuse that COVID-19 slowed us down. You heard what Mr.
It's not an excuse, it's a reality.
But it's an excuse anyways, because if you give, it might be a reality, but you are giving us a reason why you have not been able to deliver as much as you wanted to. So that's the question. But so in that sense, Mr. Adesina,
that is fast becoming history. Before COVID-19 came, as at December 2019 to January 2020, you see that the Nigerian economy was like a plane with its nose in the sky with promises. And then COVID struck and everything crashed. But as at today, 5.01 growth, it has gone back up again. That's where we are.
For example, the vice president spoke about the value of the naira.
Yes.
What is the solution that was preferred there at the meeting?
After the vice president, the central bank governor also had an opportunity to address the meeting, and he spoke on what the issues were and possible ways.
Did you was there an agreement at the meeting on what to do? Because the value of the naira is not what anybody is. In fact, some people had say that it's going to skyrocket more than what we see now.
Well, you know, some people will not always see the bright side of things. They always want to see the negative side. But it does not mean that that is what will happen. The naira, the value of the naira was very bad at a point. It stabilized at another point, and then it has gone sky high again. So it does not mean that it cannot always get better.
What's the Buhari government going to do to fix that?
The central bank governor came with recommendations this afternoon. And it's part of the reasons why you have this kind of meeting that we are holding. At the end of the day, there will be a codification of all the recommendations and follow up.
So there's no conclusion, there's no agreement yet?
No.
On the way forward?
The meeting is not over.
Okay, so there is a platform that was launched.
Yes.
To appraise.
Yes.
Is that platform going to be made public for Nigerians to be able to judge or to be able to appraise the government or the ministers?
That platform had been there since January this year.
It was just only made public?
Yes, it was just made public today. There was a formal unveiling, but it had been there since January. If you read the president's speech, he said he had been using it to assess the performance of ministers.
Was that what he used to remove the ministers?
It's not unlikely. It will be an accumulation of parameters.
Maybe you could use it to remove some more.
Well, he said when those two were dropped that it's a continuous exercise.
So it might happen after this retreat? You
cannot rule it out. It may happen, it may not happen. It's the prerogative of the president.
But he speaks to you. I mean, you know his
Yeah, sure.
He speaks to you. Yeah, so there is a possibility.
There is always a possibility of reshuffle in government. You know governments before this which reshuffled ministers 2 times, 3 times. In fact, there was a government that like every 20 months, it would drop ministers, bring in new ones. So it depends on style and the need to do it.
So did the president speak about the performance of his ministers? I mean, whether he was happy at that closed-door meeting or what he's going to do afterwards? Did he speak about it?
No.
Or he's just happy with everyone?
No. The way the closed-door meeting went today, it was more of people making presentations. And you know the president is a good listener. He listened to everybody that spoke. Every segment of the meeting, the president was there. So I'm sure he's taking his notes.
He left at about 5 p.m. too?
We left together.
Okay. So that platform that was launched today, is it going to be public to Nigerians to be able to access and be able to make their inputs?
He's domiciled in the office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, so he will be able to answer that question because it didn't come up. So I cannot pontificate on it. If I knew whether it would be open to public, I would talk about it, but I do not know.
Let's ask you, Mr. Adesina. This government came with high hopes, gave Nigerians, sowed a lot of hopes for Nigerians that this is what they're going to do. And frankly speaking, Mr. Adesina, can you look in Nigerians in the face and say that your government has delivered on the promises that you made to Nigerians?
What you need to know is that government is always a continuum. One government will come, it will do all it could do in certain areas. It will do very well in some areas. It may not do as well in some areas, and it will exit, and another government will continue.
That's not what you told Nigerians,
no,
Mr. Adesina.
No,
you did not tell Nigerians that government was a continuum. When you promised 3 major areas that you're going to fix.
You are trying to paint a picture that
No, I'm not painting a picture. I'm just asking a direct question. I'm asking you that can you tell Nigerians, and it's a straightforward thing,
sure,
whether or not you have performed? Because if you told your child that when I come back from work, I'm going to buy you ice cream, it's either you bought the ice cream or you did not. The question is...
I heard Curtis Adiba talking about the security situations at 2015. You, in all truth, can you compare the security situation today, as dire as it is, with 2015? You dare not. Because as at 2015, yes, it was only insurgency then, but the way bombs went off like firecrackers in all cities of the country. Can you compare that to today? So it would be disingenuous for you to say that there hadn't been improvements in certain areas in security.
No, I didn't quite say that. I'm asking, I'll just ask you a question, only that you have not answered my question. So, you know, you have a way around my questions. But I'll still repeat the question. Can you tell Nigerians, in all honesty, Mr. Adesina, tonight, that your government is reappraising itself on what it has promised and the priority areas that he said? Can you tell Nigerians that you have delivered on those promises?
Yes. There are certain areas where the delivery is higher than in some other areas. But for anybody to say it's a complete failure, that would not be true.
No, I'm not sure that has been implied here.
Okay.
But the question is that maybe you have failed in some areas. Is that what you will say?
No. in some areas, you may not have performed well as in others. Okay, what were the promises? There were 3 main ones, and then it was expanded to those 9 priority areas that you enumerated at the beginning of the program. 1, we will secure the country. We met an insecure country.
Is the country now secure?
Wait. We met an insecure country. We went at it, and there was some stability. And after a while, it exploded again, and it became hydra-headed. Insurgency was the main problem there. Banditry came in, kidnapping came in, cultism came in, all sorts of things came in. So it's a serious issue.
Has it gone out of your hands, Ram?
Will you let me
No, I'm just asking a follow-up question.
Make my point. The issue is that security is a big elephant in the room. It's a main issue in the country today. But is the government working at it? Oh, seriously. Seriously.
Can you make promises that the Nigerians right now who are watching that something that could relieve them a bit?
Oh, definitely. It was in the president's speech today.
That
listen to him.
Yeah, I listen.
That the security situation is being tackled frontally. And it will get
That's
better.
not the first time we heard that.
Oh, yes. And of course, the last time you heard it, compared to today, are we where we were then? Are we where we were then? So it says something in the October 1 broadcast. It said progressive movement should not be mistaken for stagnancy. There is progress. But some people want to mistake it for stagnancy. No, the security situation is not stagnant.
Because, I mean, we can go on and on about several areas, debt issue, several other issues. But let's wrap up the conversation because we still have one more segment before the end of the program. The big question is that how did the government rate itself right now? If 10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest, from the point of view of this Buhari government, how did you rate yourself?
Let me tell you that the rating was done by a neutral body. It was like a consultant, not even a government body, that came, made a presentation, did the performance assessment based on those 9 priority areas.
And what did they say?
Premature to tell you now, because the meeting continues tomorrow, and after it ends, there will be a formal report released, where I know what that neutral body gave government in those 9 priority areas.
Is it good or bad?
Quite good.
So they rated this government good?
Good.
Does the government think that is done good?
It's not the government that will assess itself. A neutral body has assessed it, and Nigerians will also assess it. Government will not assess itself. But you heard the president in his speech, he spoke about things that are being done. Like he said, those priority infrastructure projects, most of them, if not all, are going to be commissioned before the government exits in 2023. That's good news.
All right, then. Thank you so much, Mr. Femi Adesina, for talking to us tonight. I'm very sure that we still have an opportunity to speak about it because it's an ongoing matter.
It's an ongoing matter.
Thank you.
And that's how I always want you to see the governance, a continuum.
I hope that you told Nigerians that. You did not tell Nigerians at that time that government was continuum. You promised Nigerians, and Nigerians are holding on to those promises.
Yes, of course, and the government will deliver according to its promise.
So one of the things that will also remind politicians in this coming dispensation, that each time they are making promise, we tell them, remind them of what is happening right now, isn't it?
No, that will imply that what is happening right now does not measure up to the promises, and that would not be
But the realization that when you get into government, government is not exactly how it looks outside.
Well, yes, because you don't have the total picture.
All right. Mr. Femi Adesina, thank you so much for coming on tonight. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.